You can see the skin is super, super crispy because of all of the extra work we put into it.
Hi, and welcome back to the mini farm. Today, I'm going to show you how to make roasted duck with super crispy skin and some yummy duck fat potatoes. I'm also going to show you how to make this port wine reduction with all the leftovers from the pan. So yummy. This is a super easy recipe and it has very little ingredients, but the outcome is amazing. So if you want to see how to make roasted duck with crispy skin and duck fat potatoes, just keep watching. But first, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click the red subscribe button below if you haven't done so already. If it's already gray, thank you so much for being here. I love having you here and really enjoy our chats in the comment section. Without further ado, here's roasted duck with crispy skin, duck fat potatoes, and a port wine reduction for a gravy. For this recipe, you're going to need a whole duck, preferably between 4 and 5 pounds, some red skinned potatoes, and then to roast the duck, you need an onion quartered, some oregano, salt, and pepper. And for the gravy, you're going to need some port wine, some chicken stock, and a little bit of vinegar to cut the fat on the duck. The first thing we're going to do is get our duck ready. If you have a roasting pan with a riser in it, this would be a good time to use that because it helps circulate the air around the duck so we can get crispy skin later. So to get started, wash the duck with cold water, pat it dry, and then put it in the refrigerator. This will help the air circulate around the duck and really dry out that skin. The drier the skin before you cook it, the crispier it becomes. It's super juicy inside and crispy on the outside that way. If you only have a few hours before you cook it, that's good enough too. Next, we're going to prep our potatoes. To do that, we're going to bring a pot of water up to boil, add some salt in that, and then we're going to take our potatoes and with a fork, poke holes in it all around to really let that salt kind of penetrate into the middle. It also helps it cook a little bit faster that way. Once the water comes up to a full boil, cover it, turn down the heat to about medium-low, and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. When you can stick a fork in your potatoes and it slides out easily, they're completely done. Once they're ready, go ahead and pull them out and put them in a baking dish or a large platter of some sort, because we're going to start pulling them apart with 2 forks. You could cut them in half with a knife, but the smoother the edge, the less crispy they are. So you kind of want those jagged edges that you would get from kind of pulling them apart with 2 forks.
Okay, so here's our potatoes, and what you want to do, stick 1 fork in one end and then just separate them like that. And then you can do it further, or you can just leave them at that. I think I'm going to separate them in halves, and then possibly quarters depending on the size. Go skin side down, and then you just want to let them cool and kind of dry off a little bit like that too. Make sure that they're evenly spaced so they can really kind of dry out a little bit. Sprinkle them with a little bit of salt too. Now I went ahead and tucked in the wings behind it so they don't burn. This is what it looks like now that it's all dry. And to get it started, you just want to sprinkle salt inside of the cavity. Make sure you keep your one hand clean. Don't touch your things. Prop it up just a little bit. Angle it in, okay? And then you can sprinkle it all over the outside as well. Then go ahead and put your onion quarters in there.
Add the oregano in there too, and then keep going with the onions.
My oven's preheating. The oven needs to be at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so that's good. And then on top, let's bring that back down. Let me wash my hands real quick. And then just a little bit of pepper on top too, very lightly. And then into the oven it goes. It is time to take the duck out. You can see the skin is super, super crispy because of all of the extra work we put into it ahead of time. We need to lift this out of the pan and let it rest here. Now there are some juices in the cavity that we're going to leave in there until we're ready to make our gravy. So we're moving the duck over. We're going to add in our onions.
This is the second half of our onion that we used earlier in the duck.
And potatoes, and toss them in this fat and let them really caramelize in the oven with the fat on there. Okay. Toss those in there really, really good. Make sure they're thoroughly coated with that duck fat. Oh, it smells good already. Just keep tossing until every single nook and cranny is covered with that fat on there. You can kind of tell when it's completely coated. Make sure the jagged edges and stuff are facing up, because those are the ones that are going to crisp up. Add duck back on top.
We're going to put it back in the oven for about 45 minutes.
All right, timer's going off. Let's check on our duck and potatoes. They look really, really good. Not as crispy as we want them yet, but they'll get there. So let's take the duck out and preserve its juices, if I can get in there. I'm gonna put this back in the oven and toss it one more time, actually. Really coat them one more time. Okay, and then put it back in the oven to broil and crisp up the top there. So I'm gonna set a timer for 3 minutes and then check on it after that, because broiling could take it from crispy to burnt in a few seconds. But you can see there's still some juices in here. We're gonna use that for the gravy in just a bit. Okay, that took about 6 minutes. I'm fairly far away from the broiler though, so I checked on it once a minute after the first 3 minutes.
I'm going to go ahead and move the potatoes over to the serving platter, just around the edges there so we can put the duck in the middle. We're going to use the rest of the stuff in the pan, the onions and the drips and the juices, to make the port wine reduction.
I've gotten all the potato bits out. All I have left in here are just the onions. I am going to put it on medium high. Just kind of let the onions caramelize just a little bit more in there. While that's going, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the rest of what's in my duck. Some really nice juices in there. Pouring it out a little bit, and I'm going to pull out these onions in the cavity and add them to the mix. Take your tongs, slide them in the cavity really easily. Pour out whatever's left in your duck. Those are some great juices. Gently place it on your platter. Back out over there. Really want to caramelize these onions for the gravy, so this is going to just take about 5 to 10 minutes. Time to add in the pork. Really let that alcohol burn out and deglaze that pan. Now that that's cooked off, let's add in a little bit of our chicken stock. only want about a cup.
Now that the gravy's all done, we're going to pour it in a little gravy boat. You don't want to pour this on the potatoes or the duck because we worked really hard to get it nice and crispy. This will completely make it soggy. So you want to put this actually on the bottom of the plate when you serve it. So this is what it looks like when I have it on the table. You have the crispy potatoes, the duck is all crispy skinned, and then on the side you have the gravy. And this is how I plate it. I put a little bit of that gravy or port wine reduction on the bottom, and then I put the duck right on top, and then I add some crispy potatoes on the side. Enjoy! Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you haven't done so already, you can click on my face to subscribe. Thanks for watching! Bye!